Oh, hello. Welcome everyone to another Project Feline devlog with your host Project Feline. Is my video working? My previewer, my little viewport is frozen. But my mic signal shows that I'm coming through. So I don't know what's going on. One moment. Oh, hey, there I am. I don't know if that was just me or if you guys saw that and it looked like I was talking without moving my mouth, because that would be cool if I could do that. Or it's like one of those things where it's like a fake live stream and it's just like a still. That'd be funny. But no, oh, my exposure, oh, my camera settings have all been reset now. God damn. I meticulously set these up each time so that it looks nice, because I don't want my video overexposed with autofocus, because autofocus is bad. So let me just set that up again. I think that looks good. That looks good now, I think. Cool. All right. So you're saying, Ray, where it's been like a week or something. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a while. Where the hell have you been? What have you been doing? You were in the middle of doing a coding thing. You were going to make something and then you vanished. Well, it's been a long week. It's been a tumultuous week because I started working on this thing. For those who weren't here last stream, I was making a new system that would help optimize enemies by selectively spawning them, instead of having them just all in the level at once, because that is not good, because it takes up performance that way. And can I test? Okay, I can hear myself. All right. So yeah, I was working on that and it was going all right. We had a few hiccups, but I was like, okay, I think I can figure this out. But then I go to my source control and I'm going to make a new branch, because this is like a new thing. And when you're using the source control I'm using, it's called plastic. And the workflow they want you to use with that is that every time you do a task, you make a branch. So I was like, oh, I should make a branch. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I have like a lot of stuff that isn't merged to main yet. So I should probably take care of that, because I had a bunch of work for my contractor I hadn't merged, and some of my own work I hadn't merged. And I'm like, I should probably get that out of the way first before I go and make a new branch. And I thought that would take like a few hours. And I was dead wrong. It took a week to sort through that mess, because working with other people is very messy, as I have learned. I'm going to be very careful about putting myself in that situation again. But yeah, guys, general rules: always comment your code, always document stuff. Otherwise, life is not good for you. Life will be miserable. So anyway, we're going to work on my own code now, finally. I get to look at my own code this time, which I'm very happy about. And this is how it's looking. So back on the track. This is because I really wanted to get back to working on this, and now I am. I should probably set real quick. I should probably set a watch so I don't go too long, because I need... Let's give us like an hour and a half-ish. Let me just set a timer. 1:30. Save. Okay. All right. So I'll demonstrate what is happening with this. You'll also I mean, you won't be able to notice it on stream, but the game does run a bit better now, because I was using a bloom effect before I merged everything. I had this bloom effect that I really liked, and it was really nice, but it was really costly. It took a lot of frames off. I think it went from like 140 frames a second to like 100, I think. And I was like, oh, that's kind of bad. So I'm just using normal bloom now, and the game runs, what's the FPS? 120, which in editor is not bad, considering I've got like blueprints and stuff open. Like, that's pretty good, having it run at that frame rate in the editor. Anyway, so the thing I was working on is when you walk into, I have to start a mission, because this is from the mission system. And if I run into this volume, an enemy spawns, which is cool. That seems to work. But if I get further enough not from the spawn area, but from the enemy, if I get it far enough away from the enemy, it should despawn. So it'll chase me a bit, but if there we go, now it's vanished. Pretty cool. Now you might say, well, Ray, like, enemies, they should be like persistent and stuff, right? Because like, what game does that? Like, that seems kind of weird. And yes, depending on the game, like, it'd be really weird if they did that in Halo. Like, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But I'm not making Halo, thankfully. So, because the way I see it is, with Gabby, she's only going to be dealing with enemies. Like, the idea isn't that you're going to have a map that's laid out like this, and you won't be able to train enemies along for a long way. It's going to be a lot of linear maps. So I was thinking, well, it'd be nice if the enemies were just like grouped to specific zones of the map, like where they spawn, because there's going to be like no reason you'll need an enemy to like follow you to the end of the map. Like, that's not really going to happen. And if you have all the enemies spawned on the map at once, it's just taking up resources. So I wanted to create a smart system that controlled how enemies spawned and have behaviors like this, where if you do get far away from the enemies, they just despawn, because it's the game will run better, and who doesn't want that? So I've made it quite obvious here. Like, you can visibly see I can get further enough from him and he'll vanish, but if I go back into that volume, he'll spawn again. Now what's meant to happen is, if I destroy him, he shouldn't come back, but he does. So that's a problem we had last time. And then there's another problem where when the mission is reset, he's supposed to reset too. Like, if I destroy him and then reset the mission, he's supposed to come back. And he's doing that now, but he's not doing it for the right reason yet. So I need to get... I had a checklist. Of stuff. Let me just open it, because I did have a nice checklist of things that I needed to get working. I think it was this. Hold on. Yeah, so this is the checklist from last time. I had a few features I wanted to do. I'm going to leave this to the end, the spawn count, because I'm thinking it'd be cool if you could set a number of how many times the enemy spawned. But we can do that at the end, because that's pretty easy. So I'm going to ignore that one for the moment. But the way the enemy's respawning isn't behaving correctly, and it isn't binding to the mission. So let's work on those. So I've also gone in and commented some of this as well. In fact, there is a bit of commenting I still need to do, which I should do now, because I'm going to forget about it. I actually went and cleaned this up right before I went live, but there's these functions which I haven't commented through yet. And after the mess I've dealt with this week, I feel very compelled to now comment everything, because now I know what happens when you don't. And you have to read someone else's stuff. It's hell. It's actual hell. So I'm going to, just on principle, I'm going to go and comment this through, because I'm probably going to need to look at this later for something. So this function spawns the enemy. but it needs a condition. So I'll write a little note here about what this condition does. Because it looks like it. Oh yeah, so only I remember writing this now. Yeah, luckily, like this is a week ago, and I'm only just remembering this code. But imagine if a few months pass, I'm gonna have no idea how this works. So I should probably write some comments. So I'll write one here. Only spawn enemy if player is within actor proximity sensor. And what's that? Well, the actor proximity sensor, I'm just calling it that for the moment, but what it is, it's that, because last stream I added a sphere trigger that gets attached onto the enemies it spawns. So the actual enemy class doesn't have this trigger on it, but it puts one on when it's spawned through this way. And if the player if it exits the overlap of that volume, then it despawns the enemy. And we had this problem where if an enemy spawned and the player was already outside of the radius, then we don't want to spawn the enemy, which is what this does. How long has it been since the last devlog? Yeah, I know, man. It's been like 4 months or something since the last video. It's just, I've been really busy. So I haven't, I do have like 3 or 4 ideas of what I want to make videos about. But I've taken a very different attitude to devlogs since last year, because I kind of felt it was pointless to just make videos every month saying, oh, I did this month and that this month. Because it takes time to make a good video. And a lot of the stuff that happens from month to month is like small and doesn't seem significant. But it's only when it gets added up, then it becomes a big deal. And I like to make the videos at that point when it all pays off, which takes a while. But I do have some stories that I want to share in between this next milestone. So I've been working in like milestones, I guess. Like every milestone, that's when I feel like I should make a video. But I know it's been a while since the last one, so I want to. But during that time, there's been some stories that I think would make for good videos. But I don't just want to upload something that's like, oh, this week I added I added different bloom. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Like, it's just not, I don't know. I don't think it's as interesting as the bigger, like, especially my last one. That was probably the biggest video I hope I'll ever make. I don't want to make a video that big ever again because it's so much work. But I felt the most proud of that one for sure. So I want to, I don't just want to like churn out, what do they call it? Content. That's, I just want to, when there's something cool. And when there's like a conclusion, that's when I feel like I want to make videos. When there's something that's happened and it's like there's a conclusion to it. Otherwise, it just feels unsatisfying. But I've got a few. I've just been busy, but I've got a few ideas going. Anyway, let's finish commenting this function. So this kind of thing, that's why the live streams are kind of nice, because I can just show you exactly what's happening right now. Whereas making a devlog about only this, I don't know. I wouldn't watch it. It'd be boring to me. But if it was part of a big milestone, it was a story about how we got to this thing, and there's a little bits that go into it, then yeah, maybe I don't know. That just feels like the right way to go about it, because, making videos every month or every week is costly. Takes time. So what does this do? This spawns. I know it says spawn actor, but I'm gonna write spawn the actor anyway. And then this is like a reference. And then this stops us from spawning more, this little boolean. So stop prevent spawner from spawning more actors. And then this is the health component. Assign health component reference. And then this is the bit where we create the proximity trigger. So I'm gonna make a big comment bubble around that because that all does one thing. Create proximity trigger volume on spawned actor. And then these two bits, this is important because I remember having to do this for a certain reason, and I might as well write down what that is so I remember. But yeah, once I get this finished, this little thing, I'm gonna like make a video. I'm gonna work on one. I just want to get this little bit done first, but there's been a lot. There's been a lot, and I'm not going to talk about all of it in the next one, because I've got enough stuff to make like 3 episodes out of, but I want to group it smart so that the things that are topical, things that are topically related to each other are in one video, and then things that are part of another branch of development are on another video. So I've got like 3 branches that have happened since Screen Australia, and... Well, yeah, because I've started thinking about the devlogs as like stories, like short stories, kind of, especially from the last one, except that one was not so short, was it? That was a bit of a longer story. But it's like a chapter or an anime arc. That's kind of how it feels. And I like the attitude of doing it that way, because then I can work and just like do stuff, and then when enough stuff's happened, it's like, oh, now I get to make a video about it, instead of going, oh, this month, I haven't done enough this month to make a video. And it's just because I used to get stressed out over that a lot, and the videos weren't as good, I don't think, with that kind of attitude. But anyway, so set collision response to only respond. Oh, that's not well worded, is it? Set collision to only respond to player pawns, or to pawn, because that's otherwise it collides with other things like the death volume, which we don't want. This is the radius. Is that how you spell radius? No, the I goes first. That's right. Set radius. And then this, we actually don't need that. That's just it's an extra debug thing, but we don't really need it. But I'm going to leave it tacked on here until I'm finished with this, but I'm not going to group it in with this comment bubble. I'm going to end it there and just leave this hanging out for the moment so I remember to get rid of it. Oh, I forgot what the comment, because I've redrawn this comment bubble. Because I don't like to like move them around, because when you select a bunch of nodes and create and press C, it'll just automatically size it to the right size, and I like doing it that way. Create proximity trigger volume. That was the name. Done. And then it calls the event dispatcher. And now, in a few months, if I ever need to look at this, I'll know exactly what it does. So that's done. Let's get to the next one. All right, well, this is a very small function. And sometimes I'll do this where I put a comment in yellow, and that to me is like a warning that I have to look out for later. And I think what this is part of a bug where when you defeat the enemy, it'll spawn back, but you have to have this tick box here as well. So it's, I haven't figured out exactly how that's going to work yet, but I'll despawn actor. Now, I will preface as well, where I know that I am aware that there is a more efficient memory friendly way to create and destroy actors, and it's called object pooling, but that's all I know about it. I just know that it exists. I have no idea how to set it up or how it works, so that's going to be something Future Ray does if he gets time, because I just need this to work like for the moment. Those little bits of like pooling, I think I can what I can do is that I can get the states working, and then later, if I get time, I can then go and optimize it. And instead of create and destroy, I can add something else or whatever you're meant to do for pooling. But the idea is that it's just a quick change later, but I need to get everything else set up first. So, because I think there was a few people last time saying to look up object pooling, and it's like, yeah, I'm aware of it. It's just, I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before. So I want to just get it working first, and then later I can go and check that out. Because having something is better than not having anything. So if I because let's think about what bug I want to okay, so the bug I want to fix first is that the enemy should not spawn again if I've killed him. I don't want that to happen. And I know that has something to do with this despawn. Like, if I unplug this node, that will stop him from spawning when I destroy him. But there's a caveat. So he won't spawn again, which is cool. But if I exit the mission and load it again, and if I wait for him, if I get far enough and despawn, and if I go back, he won't spawn. So that just stops him from respawning ever, which isn't what we want. We only want this to happen if you exceed the proximity. But it seems like this can spawn thing is being turned on when it shouldn't be somewhere, and it needs to be turned on here. So I know for a fact it has to be turned on here. So I'll write a little comment here that says, what am I thinking? What do I want to name? Oh yeah, allow actor to be spawned again, because this function here should only happen when you exceed the proximity, not when you destroy the enemy. But I think it is being triggered again somewhere where it shouldn't be. I just gotta think. Where's my chat window? Sorry, I've been, because I get told that I rant too much, so I've been trying to be more focused, but then I keep forgetting about chat. So trying to maintain the balance. What am I using for source control? Plastic SCM. And I want to make this known that it's not made by Unity. It was bought by Unity, but because it was acquired by Unity, and I think that's going to if I tell people that I use plastic, they're all going to think I use Unity, because everyone seems to think I use Unity for some reason. So I want to stop that rumor right now. I'm not a filthy Unity user. Do not group me there. It's just I'm using a source control that's good, that happened to be bought by Unity. And I really hate that my invoices go to them now for the source control. But it's good source control, but Unity did not make it. I just want to put that to rest, okay? Just because I'm using a Unity-owned source control does not make me a Unity user. So that's that, because it's better than Git. For me, at least. For my purposes, it's better than Git. Oh, thanks, Tolga, for the kind message. When new devlog? After I get this feature done, I will start working on one. But I have a lot of unsaid thoughts, unarticulated thoughts, and a lot of stories. So I need to work out and organize them first, of like, what do I want this episode to be about? Because I have a lot to say. So I want to group it all and make it nice and have clean, focused topics to go after, and then start working on one. But I want to get this feature done first, because I do have a schedule to maintain. Oh, thanks, Anims. Glad that's motivating. Yeah, so it's never coming out. Yeah, so there's never going to be a devlog ever again. No, I'm kidding. There'll be one. It's just busy. I think part of it is that I'm still recovering from the last one, which sounds a bit nuts, but you guys might not know, but I spent months on that one, on that last episode, the 40-minute one. I mean, yes, it's a long video, but it took a long time to work on it, and I'm still a bit burned out from it, if I'm honest. It just took a lot out of me, because not only the making of it, but just like the reception it got too. Like it kind of blew up a little. I mean, it's not viral or anything, but it was my best performing one. So it was such a complicated subject too. So I was really like, it just took it out of me when I uploaded that, and I was like, wow. And I kind of went, I'm never making a 40-minute video ever again. It's just so, it takes it out of you, but I am proud of it though. I'm very proud of it. It just takes it out of you. And you got to conserve, when you start getting old, you got to conserve your energy. So, all right, so let me just think. So this thing, I'm gonna unplug this for a minute because this might be interfering with what I'm trying to do. I'm just analyzing this because this event, set dead, I think something's happening where this can spawn as being set false and then being set true again. Because I'm explicitly telling it to set false when the player is killed. And then it acts like it is true. So it must be overriding this somehow. That's my game theory, at least. I just want to see if it actually is listening for the dead event or not. Like if I kill this guy. Alright, so it's turning it... Excuse me, it's turning it off. But yeah, it shouldn't spawn another one. No, big no. So if I go to despawn, I'm gonna like, because this is the only other time this is variable is set, I think. So it means despawn actor is being, it is. So that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be, that should not be being called. So that's very, very bad. We can't have that. So I need to look at where despawn actor is being called, because it should not be, it was being called, this was like a test thing I had, where if you exited the spawn proximity, it would despawn the character, but that's, I've left that unplugged, so it shouldn't be doing anything. Yeah, it's only being called once, so that's very strange. Unless this is being called when it shouldn't be, which might be an interesting... Let's see if that gets called when I kill the enemy. It does. Okay, that's not good. That should not be triggering. So, that's very strange. I wonder what's going on. Find references. Okay, this is only called twice. So is this being called? Let's have a look. Okay, that should not be happening. End overlap. So end overlap. Oh, I hate this. Oh, this is so cheeky. So what's happening is when I destroy the enemy, I think either the player or the enemy itself, when they are destroyed, either me or the enemy is ending its overlap with the volume, the proximity volume, and it's triggering a despawn, which shouldn't be. Oh, that's funny. I don't know how I'm gonna solve that, but that's just really funny. So maybe I'm curious, what is the actor that it's unoverlapping with? Because it has to be either me, which seems unlikely, because I'm in the same spot. So it must mean that the enemy is unoverlapping with itself. That's funny. That is just funny. So let's get a little print in there to tell me what it's, because that's the only other pawn class in here. Oh, okay, let me turn that off, because I want to be able to see what's going on. I think it could be both. Yeah, it prints the character's name and my name. So when, because I need to look at something again. I gotta pay attention. I gotta look at where there should be a volume. Is the volume still visible? I don't think it is. Oh no, it is. Yeah, I can see it. It's just there's a big invisible sphere around him. It's just really hard to see on stream because of the resolution, but it's really thin. It's a wireframe sphere. So I want to slow time and see what happens to the sphere. Okay, so the sphere gets destroyed, which is good. But I think by this sphere getting destroyed, it's calling the end overlap because it's vanishing. Maybe? And then it's any pawn that is in its vicinity, it ends its overlap with. So I think... Okay. Alright. This is a bit of a... I don't know if this will work. It's a bit of a shot in the dark, but I have one game theory that might stop this. I need to get spawned actor. I think I just called it actor. Do I have the... Oh, do I have a health... Oh, I do have a health component reference. Great, because I need to just not do this if the character's dead. So if get is dead is not true. And I don't know if that'll work, but it's worth a shot. Let's see what happens now. Alright, I didn't see any prints. Okay, he's not spawning. That's good. Okay, so that has fixed it. Well, wait a minute. Let's see if I don't kill him if he respawns. So if I go there, run away, he'll despawn. And if I go back, he should come back. Yes! And then when I kill him, he should not come back. Well, let me just get far away in case their volume's still there. Because who knows? And then let's go back. And he shouldn't come back. Alright, sweet. Okay, that is now fixed. Hell yeah. I'm just a little worried about one thing. And that is, I don't know if anyone else has had this issue, or if it's just me, but I've noticed that when you use this invalid function like this as an argument, it like doesn't work half the time, because I don't know if this is, I don't know why, but sometimes if this is really not valid, because the reason I have this here is that maybe we spawn an actor that doesn't have a health component, then we just want to skip over, oh, actually, I do want to change how this works, actually. We don't want them all plugged into the same, and we want a select boolean. And if there is a health component, we then want to also check that state, and if it's not, we just want it to be true, because we want to skip this check. Because you can't check if the health component is dead if there's no health component, so we want to skip that in that case. But for some reason, I don't know if this will happen this time, but what does happen sometimes is that I make it like this, right? And then if there isn't a health component, this will cause an error, because it'll say null trying to received is valid or something. And I'm like, I thought that's the whole point of what is valid is meant to do, but it'll go through here and say missing actor health component or something. And I'm like, why is, I don't really get why that is. I know that the way to avoid it is if you turn this into a validated get, and then it will not. I don't know, again, I don't know if this will actually happen, but this is just a pattern I've noticed when I've used this in the past. But I know if I do this, it'll work, but then I have to make more nodes, more exec pins, which I kind of don't want to do. So, I don't know. It's just a weird little quirk. I don't know if anyone else has that issue. Oh, hi, Isto Incorporate. Thanks for joining your first stream. Why is there hate for Unity? That's a great question. I think there's a lot of reasons that other people might have, but I don't like it for my own reasons, because I actually, some of you might know, some of you might not, but before Feline, I used to use Unity. I used it for like 10 years. It was my first engine, and I will say, for what it is, it's not the worst. It's you can certainly have worse, like making your own engine, which is definitely I would not recommend. It's not bad, but it's limited, and I should really make this into a video, because I have said this before a lot of times, and I'm so firmly believing this. I should really just make this my own video about this. But the reason, it comes down to one thing: Unreal. Because now I've used both, and I like Unreal more, and the reason is because Unreal was made by game devs, and Unity wasn't. And you can tell. Like, if you're actually seriously doing a game, and the tool you're using was made by people like you, versus if it wasn't, you can just tell. Like, it shows. Because there are certain things with Unity that just seem clunky, and you go, why is it this way? And then you realize that, oh, no one who made this engine actually has had to use it to make a game. So that's why they make, decisions that I might think are really strange. Whereas with Epic, I've had, with Unreal, I've been confused a bit from time to time about how the engine works. But that's usually just of my own ignorance, because I'm not a AAA dev, and this is what the engine is. The engine's made for, well, that's actually an argument as well, because it is made for AAA devs. So there's that other argument of, sure, it'll bewilder me because I'm not at that level. But if it's good enough for the AAA devs, then it's probably pretty good, you know? Hell, like the Halo team, I heard some rumor that 343 are considering... I don't know if that's true, though, so don't quote me on that, but I heard somewhere that they're considering for the next Halo project or something. I don't know where I heard that from, but I remember hearing it from somewhere. So, and I think the reason it's attractive as an engine is because, you know, it feels like it was made for you, because the guys who made it are they're like they're actual game devs that use it for like real games. And I'm not talking about tech demos, because that's what some people will say with Unity. It's like, oh, well, they've made tech demos, and it's like, that isn't the same thing at all as a real game. Because tech demos you can make in like a month, and they don't have to be sold, so they are built to a lesser standard because they're not made for the consumer. If you're making something for the consumer, your standards have to be a lot higher. Because, you know, you have to sell the game. Like, it has to be well made. Whereas with a tech demo, it doesn't have to, you can get away with it not being well made as long as it looks impressive. Because that's really the point of a tech demo, is that it looks nice and advertises the engine. But whether it's well made or not is completely doesn't matter for a tech demo, which is why, you know, I prefer looking at Unreal, because they don't really even need tech demos, because they have shipped games that you can buy that like exist as like evidence of why it's a good engine. Whereas, sure, people have made commercial games with Unity, but wouldn't it make you more confident if Unity themselves had actually made something with it? Like, what does that say? If they can't even make a game with their own engine, what does that say about the engine? Because I can tell you now, if they think making a tech demo is anything like making a real game, that is absolutely not true. It is so different. The rules are different. The conditions are different. And yeah, and look, I haven't used Unity in a long time. It's been like 5 years. But I've heard it's gotten a lot worse since when I first used it. But this is all just secondhand. I haven't looked at this myself, but apparently they've messed up a lot of things like the input system or something. I haven't tried it personally, but I've just heard that it's kind of fell off a bit. You know what I mean? But that's just what I've heard. And then there was this whole drama with like the upper management. I heard there was some like thing where they were like laying people off, and they were like changing their priority to mobile games and ad models, which isn't me. Like, I'm not going to benefit from that. So that's another reason I probably wouldn't go near it. But that's not to say it's bad, because if you want to make like mobile games for the App Store, it's definitely good at doing that. So it's not a terrible engine. It's just there's better options like Unreal. And I think, you know, people who I've argued with that say, oh no, I'm sticking with Unity out of familiarity, sure, whatever, if that's your thing. If you don't want to spend the effort learning a new tool, if you're familiar with Unity, then who am I? I can't, like, whatever, it doesn't make a difference to me. You do you. But if you're not in that, you know, if you aren't married to the engine, I would not recommend Unity. I'd try Unreal if you're doing the kind of game I'm doing. Anyway, okay, so that's tidy. Sorry about that. Was a bit of a long answer, but it's one of my favorite questions I get asked. So I always like to explain like why I give Unity, like I'm just teasing it mainly. Because I you know, I've been there. I used to use it. I've been there. I know how it is. I'm just really glad I'm not using it now, let's just say. All right, so we fixed, let me go to my checklist. We have done that. Mission binding. Okay, this is where I got stuck last time. You're welcome, Tolga. How is Unreal on performing on devices other than PC? Well, look, I don't have any first-hand experience to answer that with, but look around you at the amount of games that multi-platform games that Unreal shipped with Unreal. Like, there's a lot of there's like, I remember back, I don't know if anyone remembers Infinity Blade. I don't know if that's still, anyone remembers that. It was a long time ago now, but that was an Unreal game for iPhone, and that was really cool. But there's probably a lot more recent, like Fortnite runs on mobile, right? That's a huge example. Fortnite also runs on like it's like cross-platform or something now, isn't it? And it's made with Unreal. So it's like, and there's probably heaps of examples. So I'd have to guess that it's decent, at least, maybe with a bit of extra work, if so many games ship multi-platform with it. But I haven't personally tried it, so I can't say that for certain. But if you just look around, you have to, that's the conclusion you kind of have to come to, is that, well, it must be not terrible, at least, if this many titles ship multi-platform with it. It can? Oh, cool. See, this, Yaya knows what's up. Well, yeah, exactly. Like, have you seen a Unity game that shipped everywhere? Like Fortnite? Like, I haven't seen one that's shipped on multi-platform that just, like, I think when players, like, I forgot it was even multi-platform because it's just it's just abundant. It's just everywhere. Like, it's on PC and everything, and I didn't even remember, like, that, because you can't tell. Like, you look at footage and you can't tell what platform it's on because it looks the exact same. Even I've seen mobile footage of it, and I don't know I'm looking at mobile footage. But again, I'm not a big Fortnite fan, so maybe if I was more of a Fortnite fan, I'd be able to tell. But that's, you know, something to think about. And the reason that's important, well, why is it important that there's so many examples? Well, that's a lot of, like, that's a lot of times the engine has had to be tested out then, hasn't it? That's a lot of times the engine has had to have worked well enough to be shipped multi-platform. Like, every game that ships multi-platform with Unreal is another, you know, that's another, like, win, if you know what I mean. And there's some, I don't know, I was trying to say something really deep about that, but I can't remember what it was now. But, you know, it's just, it's like, oh, evidence for, you know? It's like, oh, if this happens so much, then it must be, it'll probably be a bit, I estimate if I tried it, it might be a bit difficult, but it can't be impossible if it happens that much, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's enough about Unreal vs. Unity. I could talk for hours about that. We need to focus on mission binding. So what does that mean? Ray, what's mission binding? Well, I'll tell you. So mission binding. Now this, I have to explain this system in a devlog. I know I've been falling behind, but one of the big things I've been working on, because you might be looking at my stream right now and going, Ray, the game looks the exact same as it did 6 months ago. What gives? But there's been lots of surface progress made that I'm just not showing yet, and there's a lot of under the hood progress, and one of those things is the mission system. And I think I did talk about this system in my last devlog, but it was like barely functional then, and now it's actually works. And we were doing that a few streams ago. I made a new mission type, like, on stream with some of you guys, and if you were there for that, I made like a Floor is Lava mission type in like under 3 hours, and that's going to create lots of fun game content for the things to listen for what happens in the mission. You know, it's allowing the enemy to be aware of what's going on. And before I explain further on, I want to thank how do I pronounce Dan Booz? Sorry, I'm very bad at pronouncing usernames. Thanks so much for becoming a supporter. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Speaking of support, if you guys want something more than just a channel badge, because the channel badges are cool, but if you want something a bit more tangible, and also support my devlog series and my live streams, I recommend becoming a patron to get one of these. This design's running till the end of the year, and this is my favorite design, and I'm not biased. I know I designed it, but it is objectively a good design, okay? But if you want a mug like that, check out my Patreon, linked in the description. I'd appreciate a lot if I could have a bunch of friends to have matching mugs with, which is the only motivation for that Patreon. It's just so I know there are people out there that have matching mugs. But no, for real, like, that money goes towards me spending time on videos. And I know it's been a while, but I've now saved up a lot of money so I can sit down and make a good video. So if you want to help my series continue, consider doing that. Anyway, so the mission binding. We want this spawner, because here's what I want. I want the enemy to... So check this out, right? Oh, wait. Oh, no, this is the wrong mission. Oops. Okay, so I do have 3 different missions. I have these trigger volumes that trigger them all, and I know that the transition's a bit abrupt. I'm going to do something about that later. So I can spawn 3 different missions by running into these different volumes, except sometimes the volumes break, like they are right now. So that's something I'll have to look at later. But if I go to this middle volume, it spawns this mission that has a time and score counter. And this is the mission I've put the enemy spawner in. So on this mission, enemies spawn. And it won't spawn if there isn't a mission active. So, what I want to happen, because we've just now made it so that if I defeat an enemy, he will not come back ever. He's gone forever. So if I run into that, there's a big trigger volume under this little bridge that's meant to spawn the enemy, and it won't spawn anymore. But if I go and restart the mission, I want the enemy to spawn again. But it won't, because the enemy still thinks that, oh, well, you've killed the enemy, so we're not going to spawn anymore. But I want that to reset when the mission is reset. Now, I started doing that last stream. I made a little event here called Set Active Mission. Let me go back and read. And thanks so much, Tolga, for becoming a supporter. You guys are so nice. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Been watching devlogs for a while. May I ask, what was the first devlog you watched? I'm curious. Because I've had people from all over watching my videos for a while. Like, some started watching 6 months ago, some a year ago. When did your feline journey begin? Thanks, Tolga. Yeah, man, debugging. It's my... Yeah. Although, I will have to say, I do enjoy it a little bit more than UV mapping. Just a little. They're both terrible, but I enjoy it at least a little more. Because at least you get a big dopamine rush when you solve it. No one gets any dopamine from UV mapping. I can tell you that right now. I've never gotten a rush of dopamine by doing a UV map. Because it's just that dry. It's just that boring, you know? Anyway, so... So there's an event I thought I would... Oh yeah, so I got a component. I'll explain what this does. The lawsuit. Oh, okay, so it was the last episode. Yeah. That was a fun one, wasn't it? Well, no. Well, okay, I'll clarify. It wasn't, there was no actual lawsuit. But I know what you're referring to. You're talking about the funding saga, which could have been a lawsuit. It was a potential lawsuit, but it didn't. That didn't end up being one, thankfully. So, anyway. Mission Binder. This is a custom component that I wrote a while ago, and this is meant to listen for missions and allow you to hook events into mission events. So a mission has a few events, you know, like a mission might have a mission started, mission loaded, mission unloaded, mission reset. Those are the events that trigger in a mission. And what this component does is that it can listen for those when the events happen. So this, you can tell it, there's like a drop down somewhere. These little booleans called include active mission. So what this should do is that if this component is on, and if a mission is activated, then this component will then hook itself into it'll then go up and listen for events for the current mission. And you can then add custom functionality in response to those events. And I think what I tried doing was here where it says set mission active. And this event triggers whenever a mission is loaded, or when a mission is set active, any mission is set active, it will trigger this event. And then it checks something here, and this doesn't work yet. I need to figure out why. But this then goes, it does something, and then it tries to bind this event. It tries to bind this event, and what this event does is it's called load mission. And this will then trigger something whenever you reset the mission. So if you die and respawn, or if you just completely restart the mission, this event is triggered. And when this event is triggered, we want to turn this tick box back on. And I thought that would work, but it doesn't. But now that I'm looking at it again, I think I might know why it's not working. And I want to try something. I want to look at, because these are the list of mission, these are the event dispatches on the mission binder. And I've got one of them used right now, and this event is triggered whenever a mission is activated. But there's another event I'm trying to look out for. I think it might be this. I'm gonna just try this out and just do it directly from this. Because I think the reason I put those dispatches in there in the first place, because all these ones should then pass forward to the currently active mission. So, but I was trying to do it the fancy way. Hold on, why is my thing zoomed in? Oh, there we go. Because what I was trying to do is I was trying to do this, but I don't think that's what I want. I think I just want to make it simpler and do that. I think that's it. I don't know. Maybe it's, I hope it's it. But if, let's see what happens. So what should happen is I should destroy the enemy. Then if I press R on my keyboard, it'll reset the mission and another enemy should spawn, but it doesn't. Okay, so that still doesn't work. I wonder if this event even does get, I'm curious what this does actually. Let's see if that actually does get called when the mission is loaded. Okay, it doesn't seem like it is. I do want to try another, so if I hit a checkpoint and die, I wonder if that gets called. Okay, no, it doesn't. Huh. Alright, well, I wonder if this gets called at least, because I think the issue we had last time is that the events just were not triggering. Okay, well that's triggering. So this is getting called. But I don't think... it's binding it. Oh no, it is. Oh, all right, so that is, the valid is turning true. That's great. It's just this isn't happening. Devlog 18. Oh yeah, that was a while ago. I think that was I'm trying to remember now. Devlog 18. That was around when I finished the character model, I think. Oh, okay, wait a minute. I wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to remember which one was Devlog 18. Wow, that was a long time ago now. All right, so this is not getting called. I wonder what is the, I need to know what the current mission component is. Devlog 1. No way. That's too long. Okay, that is... It knows what mission it is. It's reading what the current mission is, but it isn't... when the mission is loaded, it's not doing anything. So that's a bit strange. Onload mission. I'm gonna try this event and see if this does anything. This calls at a different point, but I'm just curious. All right, this kind of works, but it doesn't work the way I want. So this works for a bit of a complicated reason. Well, let me check something actually, because maybe there's some, because that other event, because I want it to be this event, and there's a reason why. I don't want it to be this event, but at least this works. But because these events look similar, but they actually don't do the same thing. So on load mission, this is called whenever the mission is loaded, and this includes when the mission is first loaded up, and it also includes when you die and respawn during the mission. Whereas this other event is only when the mission is loaded up. It only calls once. But I want the enemies to respawn when you die and then reach a checkpoint. I want also them to respawn there too, which this event will not do. In fact, let's test that out, because I'm sure it doesn't, but we'll try it just in case. Maybe it does. If it does, that'd just be really funny if it did, but it shouldn't. So if I hit a checkpoint and then die, it should not spawn another enemy. All right, well, I mean, what we want is for another enemy to spawn. We want that to happen again. Unless we want to save it, which we could do, but I don't want to do that yet. But I want it to be this event so that it will do that. But I need to have a closer look at how that event has been set up, because it seems to just not work. Just let me think for a moment. Let's have a look and see if the actual thing in the component gets called, because it doesn't seem to. I don't think it does, which is that's a bit more of a fundamental problem, I think. So if I die, I wonder if that event gets... Okay, so that event actually never fires, which is not so good. So I gotta think about how I'm gonna get over that. Devlog 12. Oh, I think I remember Devlog 12. I think that was... Oh... No, I've got it. It's... I think that was when I started working on the settings menu, I think. Oh no, oh maybe, I don't know. God, and I have to check now. I need to know. What was Devlog 12? I need to know. Because I honestly, it's a bit shocking, but I honestly can't remember. Oh, 12, that's when I started Gabby. Okay, no, sorry, I was way off. No, Devlog 10 was when I was doing the settings menu. But no, this is, that's when I was doing Gabby. Wow. And what was the one the other guy had seen? Devlog 18. Okay, which one was that? That was the animation one. Yeah, that was fun. Okay, cool. Okay, now I remember. God, it's so funny, because I honestly don't remember half this happening. Sounds a bit crazy, but I really don't remember. I guess that's why I make the videos, so I don't forget. Thanks, Starlights. Yeah, that would have been devlog 20 something, or 18 as well, I think, Leo. That would have been around the same one. Anyway, I gotta think about this. So I need to go deeper. I need to look at the mission component, which is the thing that the binder is based on. I gotta look at the functions. Load mission, because I know for a fact, I'm pretty sure this gets called. I don't know, let's add a thing there to see if it actually gets fired. Okay, that doesn't get fired. Alright, well that's... Well then what does that do then? Because I'm sure it does something. I'm very sure it does something. That is odd. Load mission just does not happen. I need to think. I know that this is... So the issue is the way it's something in the actual mission state that I had never noticed, where this event actually never gets called. But I'm pretty sure, does this event? I'm sure this event gets called. I have to think that at least that one gets called, right? So if I hit the check, yeah, save mission gets called. Load mission should also get called. When I hit a because save is when I hit a checkpoint, and load is when I respawn. It should be it should be calling that function, and if it isn't, then it's kind of I'm a little amazed that I didn't notice something else break, because something else, there should have been an obvious sign that something had broken. So if I need to take some damage. Yeah, it should... load is not being called. That is... Ooh. Because here's the thing. You see how the cogs respawn? Like, I collect those 3 cogs, and if I hit R to respawn, the cogs respawn, and that I know that happens on load mission. So I know that it's happening, but it's not happening, and I'm really confused because the cogs should not be respawning. Like, that should not work if this function isn't getting called. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's like, I'm angry that it works at all, which is a weird thing to get angry about, but it doesn't make sense that it's half working. It should be completely not working, but it's half working, and that doesn't make any sense. So let's have a look at. I need to look at every time this is called, because this is not triggering when it's meant to. Because this isn't the same event as set mission loaded. It's a different event. It's called load mission. And what it's meant to do is, like, it's meant to... what is it meant to? It's meant to, like, load metrics from your last saved checkpoint. And it should also call when you load the mission up for the first time. It should do both of those things. But it seems to actually never fire. So that... No, okay, this is funny, but I think the reason this half works is because I think the metrics are independently loading, like, on their own. And I forgot I had done that, but I think that's actually what's happening. Like, all the things like the collectibles and everything, they actually know, like, completely independently of that function to reset when you die. Like, it's done, they know through a different method, which is funny. But it also means that I need to get this function to work, which I thought I had gotten to work at one point. So I'm just trying to look through at every instance where this is called, and I honestly cannot find one. Okay, so it looks like it's just an event that just is there and is never... I set it up and then I never actually used it. I've never had to actually use this event until now, I think, which is why I didn't notice it wasn't working. But I gotta think. Because if it's not used anywhere, where should it be used? Because it should be used, but the question I have to ask now is where should this be firing? How do I get it to fire? That's the question I'm trying to work out. Because it's been like a month or so since I last worked on this little part of the system, so I have to get reoriented a little. Am I considering a Kickstarter for Feline? Well, look, I have plans. I can't tell you the plans right now, but I have plans. But it's complicated. But I do have plans. But I appreciate you asking. That's actually good, because it tells me that there's interest in it, which is nice to know, which I might need. But look, there's a lot, like, you know, you might say, well, what is Ray, like, it's been how many months since my last video, right? It's been like 4 months, and you're looking at me doing this right now, this little bit of code that looks like it could have been done in a week with this level that looks the test level, which hasn't changed, and you might be saying, well, what has Ray been doing this whole time? But no, there's a lot. I just can't talk about all of it right now, but there's a lot of plans, a lot of planning, a lot of contingencies, backup plans. And I'm working towards those plans right now as we speak, on even things they're just made up of these little things, all these little components, but it's going to amount to something really cool. My patrons probably know what I'm talking about, but actually, my YouTube members too, actually. So the guys that just became members, because I think no one seems to remember that YouTube has a community tab on channels, but the members, you really need to go look at that, because if you want to know what I'm talking about right now, then the new members that joined, you can go find out on my members section on my channel in the community tab. There'll be like 5 or so monthly updates worth of things that you should probably check out. And it'll make sense. It's just I'm not ready to show it here yet for reasons. And yeah, because it's, you know, I want to show it when it's ready. Anyway, how do I gotta figure out how this event when this event will fire. But I want to. There was a question I had about that question you just asked that I'm also trying to. My brain's trying to multitask. Oh no. YouTube. Yeah, look, the community tab isn't great, but that's the only way I can communicate with my YouTube members. So that's what we have to do. I'm sorry. Cool. In fact, that's good to know. I will say I can't say exactly what I'm planning, but I can say that I have done over the years a lot of passive research on crowdfunding. But I wanted to avoid it because there's variables, let's say. And I've, through my own thinking through this stuff, I think there are types of developers or projects that work well with that kind of model and some that don't. And I think the general thing I hear, like one of the things I hear a lot is to not do it because it's high risk and it's a lot of them don't work, right? And that's something that has fascinated me just passively. Like even 4 years ago when I was nowhere, when I was just doing this like on the side, I was curious about why do people not recommend crowdfunding and why do so many of them fail? And I looked into it just out of curiosity, and I've noticed a few trends and patterns in a lot of them that don't work. And I think a lot of it has to just do with like, there's certain skills you need for a crowdfunding thing that some people just don't have. And it isn't like a skill issue. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's not a skill issue thing. It's just some people are, because through my own little adventures, because I've tried doing grant funding through a few places now. And one thing I've learned about that through me, especially with Screen Australia, is that I don't think I'm the kind of person that can work well with bureaucracy. That's one of the things I think I learned from that, because you have to be you have to think of just be a certain way to like be able to tolerate that. And some people can tolerate it and they're really good at handling it. And I don't think that's me. Because I don't know, there's probably reasons why, but I haven't thought, I've thought a bit into it, but I couldn't say what those are in a concise way. But, there's certain, like, you have to have certain skill points for that, is what I'm saying. Whereas with crowdfunding, that requires completely different skill points. And I've noticed with a lot of the ones I've looked at that didn't work, I looked at, like, the page, I looked at the trailer, I looked at all the stuff you meant to do, and I noticed lots of, like, deficiencies, and I was like, maybe this kind of person is, like, not good at editing, or not good at this or that, or whatever skill you need, but maybe they would do well in, like, an investor fund or something, right? So that's, that's something I've definitely had to think about since the Screen Australia thing happened, because, it's like, well, how are you going to navigate forward? And it's like, well, what do you want to try next? And I know one thing I definitely don't want to do is another Screen Australia, because that was just a big waste of time. So I've been thinking about that, but that's all I can say. But it does seem, but it is just, I don't know, it is curious, because I think there's a lot of YouTube channels now that talk about Kickstarters too, and they kind of laugh at them, right? But I find those kind of interesting, just out of just curious, out of curiosity. I'd be curious though about your question, Yaya. If I were to do that, hypothetically, what would you expect? Like, I'm trying to think of a better way to word that question, because that's a big question. Like, what would be something that would make you want to support? If I were to do a Kickstarter, what would make you want to support it? I'm curious to know. Hypothetically, of course. But if I did do that, I'd be curious to know, like, what would be the thing? Actually, two things. What would be the thing that would want to make you do it? And what would be something that would completely deter you from it? That would be interesting to know. So see, look, guys, I know I went on a bit of a tangent. I know I'm just scrolling around my code, but I'm doing market research right now. Okay, I'm what is the word? I'm polling the public. So it's market research time. It's all work, baby. The work never stops. Well, that's the thing, is that it is a whole other job. That's something I've kind of noticed is that it is another job. But you know what else is another job? Talking to lawyers for an investment fund and, you know, negotiating a contract. That is also another job, which I had to do last year that I really did not like. So the way I see it is you're going to have to pick up like a third job to do on top of the game anyway, you know, and you got to, the way I'm thinking about this is that you got to carefully pick which job you want to do. What game do you want to play? What set of challenges do you want to put up with? Because you're going to have to put up with some challenges. And all I can say is that I don't want to try what I've tried again, because it's just, I've tried it already and I know what it's like, and it's like, I don't think that's for me. Especially if I'm telling, you know, government paid lawyers how to write contracts. Like that kind of tells me that maybe it isn't for me, you know? But anyway. Interesting. Well, that's another thing too, is that there is definitely a stigma around them too. I'm curious, like, how heavy that is though. And thanks, by the way, Flaming Fox, for becoming a supporter. That's so nice. I appreciate it. Flaming Fox as well. Go check when the stream's over, or you can do this now. I don't care when you do it, but check the community tab on my channel and you'll see some juicy things waiting for you there. Okay, I should get back to programming now because I've gone on too many tangents. But let me know what this question isn't just directed at anyone can answer that question. If in a crowdfunding campaign, hypothetically, what would make you want to do it and what would deter you from it? I'll read your answers in a bit. I just want to try and figure out some code stuff. I'll let you guys think about those questions, and then in a few minutes I'll look and see what you say. Okay, so it's the loaded. I'm just going to talk to myself for a bit. It's the loaded event. There's never been called, even though it should be, because it's kind of important. But it's never been called for some reason. And I don't know, and it should be called because I need to use this event for this one thing, and I just have never put it anywhere, and I'm trying to figure out where should I be calling this thing. Well, let's start with where is save mission being called? Because to figure out where load mission should be called, we should look at where save mission is being called as a reference. Because it's been a little bit since I looked at this. I can't. Okay, this must be being called somewhere else, not in this thing. Let me look at I need to look at a metric. So this is a different blueprint now, and I know it looks big. Don't let that intimidate you. It is very meticulously organized. It's just there's a lot going on in this one. But this is the metric blueprint. So this is the things like the stopwatch, the score counter. All of that is based on this class. And this thing, I'm pretty sure, can listen for when the mission is saved and loaded, because I'm really sure I made that work. So I want to look here and see what I did. Okay, so it is doing something here. When load mission. So let's actually, I want to check that. Because I'm pretty sure this event does something. I just don't know where, but I'm very sure that it's being used somewhere, because there's no way the game would run this nicely and not break if this didn't run. Okay, that is a bit weird, actually. Because you see the score? So it's at 100. But if I go and die, it'll reset back to 0. And that should be... It should be firing this event to do that, and it isn't, so it must be doing it some other way, and I've got no idea how, but... Oh, that's aggravating. Well, okay, so this is just... I've been working under the assumption that this event does something this whole time, and it doesn't, so I... Oh, okay, well, how am I gonna... Because this isn't something you can just put in. You have to think about this sort of thing. You got to be real careful, because if you put this in the wrong place, it might cause an issue either now or later. Could be both or neither, because you just got to think about it, right? Like, you can't just mindlessly go and put it somewhere. You got to be very thoughtful. You don't want to break something. So where would I want load mission? Or hold on, I gotta now check if this is. This has to be being called for sure. I'd have to think because the score gets saved when you hit a checkpoint. So I have to believe that function is at least getting called, and if that's getting called, then that might help me figure out. Okay, so that means that the checkpoint is causing this. Let me go check on that. And I know this probably doesn't make any sense to you guys, but I'm just thinking out loud. And that's kind of what programming is. You're just thinking out loud. You're just rambling. That's kind of what it is. So my game theory is that. What was the name of the function? Hold on. Okay, so. Oh, that's funny. So the only reason that save mission works is because the checkpoint directly calls it, and that is the only time it is ever called. So that must mean, so where should I put load? Where should I put load? Where should I put load mission? Also, why is there's like a new var 0. What on earth is that? Let's get rid of that. What does this do? Is this just an empty... Yeah, let's get rid of... I don't know why I left that in there. New var 0. If you guys ever see a variable named new var 0 in any of your things, that's when you know you've failed and you should seriously consider what you're doing. Yeah, so I left that in. That's my bad. It's gone now. But I'll look at the chat in a minute. I just got to figure this out. I think where it needs to... Let me just think. Where it needs to be loaded... Because I need my notepad. I gotta write this down. Because when... This is the question. When should load be called? Now, this isn't the same as set loaded. That's just when the mission is spawned in. But load mission... Let me write down what that means. Load mission means loading metrics from saved values, which they seem to just do on their own somehow for some reason. But I do need this event to be operable so that I can tell the enemy, because the enemy, when the mission is loaded, like after you've died and respawned and it loads the metrics back to what the saved values were, that's when I want the enemy spawner to then reset to. That's why this is what this is all for. So load mission means happens when we die, or when mission is reset. So the difference, because the unloaded mission, which is a different event, only happens when the mission is first loaded and when it is reset, but it does not happen if we die during a mission and we hit a checkpoint. That's what the difference is with load mission, is that it just loads. You know, it's like when you're in I don't know, in any other game, I'm sure this is a thing in other games, right? Where it's like in Mario, maybe, I don't know, like, you're like doing a platforming or something and then you fall off a ledge and then you spawn back at your checkpoint and all the enemies have reset and the collectibles have, like, that's what I'm talking about. It's this event. So the points at which that will happen is when mission is first loaded in the scene, and also when player respawns. So that's the two events this will happen. And I think I might have an event for that. Let me go check. Mission bind. And then after I look at this, I'll look at chat and check on what you guys are saying. On mission bind. No, I need, okay, so I need to go mission component, and then I need, there should be an event here called pawn respawn. Aha. I think this is the event it should be plugged into. I don't know why I left that dangling there. I think it's here somewhere. Let me actually just look at this. What is mission saved? Oh, okay, so that has, if we've hit a checkpoint. I think, okay, so I think... And I just want to check one, I just want to, oh, no, to find references to this again and just make sure, because I think it is not used anywhere at all, which is why it's not firing. I just want to make sure of that while I'm here, just to triple check. So I'm scrolling through this. It's a bit hard to see on stream, I know, but I'm scrolling through this. Okay, no, that's not it. Okay, so this is literally the only... Okay, so this is the first time it's ever being used. So I gotta think... I think this should just happen no matter what when we respawn, right? So let's see now, because I think what should happen is that I should be able to plug this in and this should fire. I think it might... I don't know, I don't want to like give my hopes up, but I feel like it should do something, right? Okay, no, it's still not doing it. All right, well, I'm pretty sure that's where the event should go. Is now we just got to figure out, or is this firing? Actually, let me check something else, because maybe this isn't actually happening. Okay, no. Oh, okay, wait a minute. I think that we might need to call this in a few other places too. But let me, instead of resetting the mission, I'm going to let myself get killed and see what happens if it fires. Okay. So I need to put this somewhere else as well, but it does need to be here. So let me slow up a little, and we did get somewhere. Okay, I'll tell you why this half works now, and it's funny. But it does work if this happens. So if I go and if I destroy this enemy, if I go back to the spawn area under this bridge, it won't spawn the enemy again. But if I press the R key to reset the mission, it still won't respawn. But if I go and die from something, then it will respawn. So, can I turn these off? Okay. So now if I walk into the volume again, the enemy should respawn. So it's only if we get damaged, but not if the mission itself is reset. So I need to add that event to one more place and then it'll work. So that's kind of funny that it only works when we die. So it, where there's a, I know where it needs to be. I think it needs to go, on mission loaded, I think it's here, which has a lot of stuff in it already, I know, but so I'll just put this here for the moment. That actually might work. I know I want to actually make that tidy later, but I just want to see if that actually does work. So if I reset, okay, well he's still there. All right. Well, if I, okay, no, wait. So if I reset the mission now, he should come back. Okay, no, that's still, all right. Wait a minute. I wonder if is this actually getting fired or not on mission loaded? That should be happening. Okay, so when we first load the mission, it will load. If I okay, well that's being triggered again. So that means that he should come back, but he's not. All right. Okay, that's a bit complicated then, isn't it? All right, I'll reach out now. We made a little step forward. Yeah, like stretch goals, cool. A good plan would convince you. Yeah, that's a fair... it would convince me too, probably. Yep. Other than sentimental value, like nostalgia. Hold on, let me read that again. A good plan would convince you when you know that you'll get the creative... When you'll know what you'll get and the creative process is more or less done. Other than that, sentimental value. Also, like projects that are like remind you of old games or something. Yeah, I think there's a lot of those, isn't there? I've seen there's like, I don't know what it is, but just with indie, there seems to be like lots of like 8-bit games, like Metroidvania 8-bit games. I've noticed that those are just everywhere. I think it's because it's in the nostalgia cycle, because it's like a 20-year cycle. Where it's like every 20 years, whatever was in 20 years ago kind of comes back. And I think now it's like, it was that type of game. And I think the next thing is probably going to be like PS1 games or something. Hi, Shadow. Good to see you. Let me read the rest of these because these are interesting answers. It did a really good job of communicating exactly what it sets out to do. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Eye-catching trailer, playable and engaging demo. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's because that's funny. Because to me, that seems like obvious, you know. But there are a surprising amount of projects that don't do that. Oh yeah, I guess PS2. I think hell, even PS3 games might be retro now. Maybe I think they're coming up. PS3 games, I think they're slowly getting there, which is kind of terrifying. Because when was 2007 6? Was it two? No, it launched in like Japan in 2006 and Australia in 2007, like early 2007, which was like 15 years ago. Or maybe 16, I don't know. I'm not good at quick maths, but it's like 5 more years and it'll be like in that prime nostalgia cycle. Okay, so all right. Thanks for the answers, guys. Those are interesting things to think about. But yeah, it's but those like, to contrast it with what the point I was making earlier, is that if you want to go the more traditional route, like with a publisher or with a grant body or something, those are the kinds of things you don't really need to think about. So you give up having to worry about those things, like a trailer and stuff. I mean, you should probably still make a good one anyway, but you don't have to worry about those things. But instead you have to worry about other things, like, oh, is my publisher going to withhold my next milestone payment if I don't get this done on time or something like that? It's that kind of stuff. Or, you know, is my publisher going to like, you know, are they going to like, depending on how you've negotiated, well, to get to the thing where you can negotiate something at all is like the battle you have to fight instead of like getting into a good relationship, which sounds, from the stories I've heard and the things I've experienced, sounds almost impossible. But I have to think it's possible, at least a little, because people do it. But there's just a lot of horror stories, which is a bit scary. I actually liked PS3 era games more than PS4 era games. I think that's more because of the jump, though. Like, I remember just when the PS4 came out, I just like stopped caring about like like new releases and stuff. Like, I think it's just because the jump from 3 to 4 was like not that big compared to the jump from 2 to 3, because the 2 to 3 jump was huge. But then, like, a lot of games you see now that run on PS5 even could be done on PS3. Like, if you, architecture and stuff aside, like, you could make, like, if you knew how to use the architecture, you could make, like, the game design and graphical fidelity would be close. I know that, like, and when I say close, I know it is technically a big leap between, like, 720p to 4K, but I don't know, like, it seems less impressive to me because I don't know why. Maybe it's just the scale of it all, because I think that gets to a point where it's, like, detailed enough, and anything above that is just diminishing. Like, to me, the difference between, like, 1080p to like 4K is not as cool as the difference between like 480p and 720p, if you know what I mean. But that's just me, though. Anyway, so this event, because this is oh, hold on, I unplugged something I wasn't meant to. Let me just undo that a bit, because there's something that, okay, I think maybe I did plug this in wrong, because I know that one of these was unplugged that wasn't meant to be. So I just want to pay attention to where this has been plugged. So I need to plug that in there, and then I need to plug this in here, I think. I want to try that again and just pay attention to this event, because I'm a little okay, so that gets called. And that gets, okay, so when I press R key, it gets called again. Oh, well, maybe it actually will work now. Gets called again, great. But the enemy is not spawning again, which is really strange. All right, let's try. So I think that's fine. It's just something on the spawner side might be working right. Let me just I just want to check on this event and just see when this is firing, because it should be reacting to. Oh, see, that's it isn't. So this might not be working. But maybe this will. I don't know. I want to try this and give this version another go and see what happens. So if I press... Alright, well let's... Oh, no. I keep hitting the goal by accident. I didn't mean to do that. Alright. I just want to see what happens if I do the death thing again. If that's... Okay, so... Alright, so this event... actually does do something, which is great, because I do like just being able to... Alright, so it still only works when I die for some reason. And that error is from something else. That isn't to do with this. So I think I can not have this... I don't think I need this set up. I don't need that. I don't need this. I just need this, but it's just this isn't always firing when I want it to, which is a bit disappointing. No, wait a minute. Because this, the thing that's not good is that right now that event should have fired and it didn't. Which is why when I hit restart, the enemy doesn't respawn. I think what's happening is, load mission is oh, how do I explain it? You know what? Let me try. I want to try one more thing. I want to try hitting a checkpoint first, and then, okay, no. But I think it's when I die it will work, and I think I might know how to solve this now, because when I die it works. I just want to see if it also works when I hit a checkpoint. I just want to check that real quick, because I just want to be really sure that it will work. In fact, let me just. Okay, so... Oh, no. Okay, so, No, this is actually not so good. Let me Oh. Hold on. It should have disappeared when I Okay, let's just run it again. Because I think it's just... It looked like it came back, but now it's not coming back. Alright, so I must have glitched something out there. Something weird must have happened. But if I go and die... He should come back again. And then, if he comes back, and if I kill him again, he should not come back again after this. And I think he... Okay, no, he's not coming back. Okay, good. But now if I hit reset, and then I die. I think it's when I do a specific order of something, then the enemy will just keep spawning. It's some combination of things that glitches it. I just want to check it, because I'm getting a little paranoid now. And if I hit reset, it should not... Okay, that's fine. So back what I was going to say, I need to add another event called on mission... Oh, is that... I don't know if... I actually don't know if this will work. I don't know if this will work. I need to look at the list of missions. I think it's set mission loaded latent. I think I need latent specifically. Oh no, I'll try the normal one, and if that doesn't work, I'll try latent. So latent, these events get fired around the same time, but this one gets fired slightly afterwards. And I'll get to that in a bit. I'm just gonna do this first, so that when I reset the mission with the R key, it oh, what is this? What does this mean? I don't know why it's oh, well, let's just see what happens anyway. So if I hit R, okay, that fires, and it should respawn another one. Okay, great. Okay, I can probably get rid of these now. Oh. Okay, so I think it's working. Oh, where did he go? Oh, there he is. Oh, no. I hit the results screen. Okay. The thing is, okay, the only issue is that when he's... Okay, I'm gonna have to do something where he, like, resets his position or something when the mission gets restarted, because he'll just stay there. So he doesn't... The enemy should go back to his spawn point. That's something I didn't think about that we'll have to do. But I think the spawning state seems to be resetting. Alright, I actually thought that would break, but it didn't. So that's great. So that's error was from the results screen. That's some widget problem, but that doesn't happen that often. But that's unrelated, so we won't worry about that right now. Okay, so... I literally can't remember what I just did in the last 2 minutes. I don't know what happened. I think my brain just did a memory wipe or something. But basically, the spawner state resets now, and the mission binding has worked. But I've figured out that we need another thing. And I'll add this to my... that works, and that works. But we need to add something else. We need to respawn actor when mission is reset. And I think that should be easy. Let me just think. Oh, no. It isn't that we want to respawn. No, that isn't quite it. We want to despawn. That's what we want. Because if we because the reason for that is that, let's say, well, yeah, because the mission start point is outside of that volume, and if I did make it respawn, and if I reset the mission, then the enemy would spawn, like, let's say the enemy was, like, chasing me around the map and it was currently in the level, and then I hit R to reset. The enemy would, at the moment, it just stays where it is, which I don't want, but if I did respawn, it would just move itself and spawn back here, despite the fact that I haven't entered the volume yet. No, what should happen is that it should despawn, and then when I walk back into the volume, it spawns. So we want it to despawn. And I can get rid of... I can just run this instead, I think. I don't need to run the other one, because this has the Boolean check in it. So I think that's all I have to do. Let's have a look and see how that goes. So... he'll spawn in, and I'll like train him over here or something, right? But what should happen is if I hit the R key, he should vanish, and he should respawn again. Okay, great. Oh my god, that works. That's so great. And then if I get far away from him, he'll vanish, and if I go back to the spawn point, he'll come back. And if you go away again, he'll vanish, and if I restart the mission, he should come back, and if I kill him, he should not come back until I reset the mission again. So I want to do something that will cause a mission load, which like I'll hit a checkpoint and die or something. Oh, okay. I think I clicked on my taskbar. I couldn't move there for a second. So if I respawn and then I try and go back, I think he should come back, I think. Yeah. He'll come back. But if I just go back into this volume again normally, he won't come back until I die. So if I hit this checkpoint instead, and then go hit the fan, and then I go back below, he'll come back. Yes, great. And then if I hit respawn, he'll vanish. He'll come. I'm just checking every possible contingency I can, just seeing if any weird quirks happen. So if I go and die now, he'll come back. And if I kill him now and then I hit reset, he'll... Okay, I think it works. I think it actually works. Oh my goodness. It's behaving exactly the way I want. Oops. Okay, so that big thing over the screen, that's just a UI bug. When I get near this gate, don't worry about that. I can do something about that. All right. Oh. All right. Well, he's spawning. All right. Oh, what's this? Blueprint runtime error. What's going on? Oh, attempted to access this via property actor pending kill. So, yeah, we'll need to do... well, that's weird if it's doing this before this is happening, but that might fix it. Because it might be trying to call this again after we've already destroyed it, which is not good. So let's just play around a little again and see if we get those errors. Oh, wait a minute. All right, well, like, that has now broken it. Oh no. So now he doesn't spawn. Let's plug that back. Okay, well, there is one problem. Of course. What error? Okay, so the error we get is that... what is... I'm sure this is probably some obvious thing. I just don't... I've had this before. I just can't remember. Just can't remember how to fix it. But if I... Because I think what's happening is that I'm telling it to destroy an actor. I'm giving the actor... I'm using it in a reference here, but it seems to not like me doing that because it's going to destroy it, but it's causing the error exactly where I'm going to destroy it, which is a bit strange. It's a weird place to have that error. Unable to read property. Because it's telling me it's happening right here, which is very odd. Let's find... I want to see where else this is being used. Because I think it's only being... Oh. It's only used 3 times, where it's being set and where it's being get. And this is not plugged in, so it's only really being used twice. Here and here. That is odd. But if I do this, it will not work. Oh, no. I think what it is, I think you have to, I think that the not is valid has to also be, I think that could be it. I think that's why it was not spawning more of them. I think that's what it has to be, right? Okay, now it's spawning more of them again. And okay, we don't get, these error log things are from before. These I didn't clear them. So if we do this again, it should not have any errors. Because if I didn't have the is valid dot plugged in, then it would not know to spawn more. I think that was the issue. Okay, so that's cool. I've got like an extra 10 minutes. I wonder what can I do to make this like fun? Just as like a little, because now it works, which is great. It reacts to, so let's go to my my checkboxes here, because they respond to. They do the things they're meant to. They do all this. It's just the spawn count bit. But I want to do something a bit more fun to finish this, because I could do this later. I want to add like a cool effect or something when you spawn this in, like a particle. That'd be nice. Let's make that the end. So let's so when we spawn, I should have a function for that, right? Yeah. So spawn actor. I'll make another function called play effect. And we'll play like, because I'm thinking it should play effect when it spawns and when it despawns, and that effect should include like a particle and a sound. Do I have something where I've done this before already? I wonder. I think I should. I think there is something in the game. Yeah. Wait. I might be able to copy paste some stuff, which will save us some time. Although I should probably make this like a component, but the cog collectible class has a function that does the exact same thing. At least I thought it did. I'm pretty sure it did. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Oh, maybe it's the component, the collectible component. Let me open that up. So this is the component that controls how checkpoints and cogs behave, and there should be a function called play effects. Okay, this is the exact thing I was thinking to make. So I want to copy. Well, I need to copy the event dispatcher. I'll copy this to the proximity spawner. So I want to copy. Can I should be able to. Okay, no, I can't. I can't copy paste event dispatches, sadly. I really wish I could, because that would save me a lot of time. All right, well, we'll do that at the end. We'll do We'll do the variables because we're gonna need some variables. We need a emitter. So I'll close some of the, yeah. So I'll copy some of these variables, and we'll put this in its own category called effects. An emitter, and there's a few parameters that these are meant to have, which I'll just copy. And I've already, oh, I thought I had put tooltips in for these. Okay, let me copy that tooltip. I always like writing tooltips for my variables. And we got a sound as well, because that way we can have like a cool like portal effect or something. Like they warp in from like thin air. That would look so cool, because it does look a bit awkward with them just teleporting in like that. It'd be nice if they had a cool particle and played like a sound. I think a sound actually would be great too, because it's like a prompt to the player of like, hey, get ready for some combat, and it plays the enemy spawn sound. That would be really cool. So if I copy all these in, oh, because it will do something similar. Can I select? Oh, I can't select multiple. I really wanted to select multiple and copy them, but it doesn't let me. So I have to do this one at a time. A kill brick. I think I do have one somewhere. I do have a kill volume under the floor, and I have a tiny kill brick somewhere else in the level. Like, it's just a little volume that kills anything it touches, but I've got that used somewhere else for something. Oh, thanks, Hi-Rise. That's very kind. Well, look, okay, I just want to stop you there. I would not call myself an actual coder, because I've seen actual coders and they are way better than me. I'm like good enough for what I need, but that does come at a cost, because I was having a debate with a friend recently about coding. He's someone who knows a little about coding. He's more of a systems like server stuff, like that's kind of his area. And we were talking about tech debt. And there's like an interesting thing where it's like there are some coders out there that are really quick, but they accrue lots of tech debt. And then there's ones that take forever to do everything, but they are in less debt. And for those that aren't familiar with the term tech debt, that is the single word as to why Project Feline is like been in development for probably longer than most people would expect it to, is because I push myself really hard to try and avoid tech debt, because it's a nightmare to have tech debt. But to pay tech debt means it's like, you know, it's like money, it's like actual money, like it's actually works like real life money. If you want to, like the Xbox Series something, or whatever the cheap budget model is, there's something in my country where it's like you can pay a plan of like $20 a month or something for like 12 months, and then you get Game Pass and you get to own the Xbox after 12 months. Or you could just like buy it like right now for a bit more money, but then you don't have the stress of having to make monthly payments on it, right? That's kind of how tech debt is. You can pay in little amounts, but you'll have to pay for a long time, and you'll have to pay later, and you'll have that constantly looming over you. But the amount you pay now is lower, so it feels a bit better, I think. But then if you're a bit more long-term thinking, you'll realize that that's actually probably going to be more complicated, and you might save yourself trouble of just buying the console now, so you don't have to worry about it. And that's kind of how tech debt is. Now, it's a bit more complicated. It's oversimplified, but that's kind of how, at least with game dev, I found. It's just the thing, I think the thing that makes tech debt not avoided as much as I think it should, just from how I've worked with other people before. Like, I've worked with some really, like, a few people I've worked with before, like, are really sloppy, but they're really quick. So that's kind of the payoff, where it's like the thing they do or make. Like when I was a student, I used to work in groups a lot, and a lot of their code was just sloppy. But it was done on time, so that's the price. But if you do it correctly, you might have to delay it a bit, and you might have to wait. But it means that there won't be issues later. And I think the only time that's not a problem is a game jam or a mobile game. And it just so happens that I know a lot of people that only really work on those titles, so they don't really treat tech debt that seriously. But if you're doing something long term, I think I've copied all those variables now. But yeah, so if you're in a bigger project than a game jam thing, then I think that's what makes game development so complicated, actually, because I've been thinking this over about why I care about tech debt so much. And I think that's what drives devs crazy, honestly, because if you're making a simpler project like an album, and an album isn't simple, but it is technically simpler than a game, I think, because you have to do less. Like sometimes, I think to myself, man, like a game is so hard. Why did I pick a game? And I know why I picked a game to make, but I think, if I had done an album, like a creative project, like an album or something, it would have been done in like 6 months. But I think it's because there is less things to pay for in those sorts of projects, because there's less moving bits. You don't have to worry when you make a song about like your guitar being programmed wrong, because that's not a thing you worry about. There's other things you worry about, but it's not things that really affect long-term stuff. But in a game, when just with programming, with systems and stuff, I think that is an environment where tech debt is like growing like vines, a lot more than other mediums, and I think that's what makes it so complicated. But I don't know, that's just something I've been thinking about. But anyway, I don't know why did I start talking about that? I remember there was a reason. Oh yeah, because you said I was an actual coder, and it's like, look, I try, but I know that there's better. But I also, there's some times where I've wanted to like teach programming as well, but then I think, I don't know, like I did used to teach programming for a time, but unfortunately it wasn't at the level where I could get into tech debt stuff, because I think, I don't know, just things on my mind lately. I think debt like that, or like thinking ahead, because a lot of the time in my stream, you're noticing me think and go, oh, well, this will be a thing later. Like that's kind of what's going on in my mind all the time. So I think contrast that to when I was starting out, when I was a lot worse of a programmer. I definitely wasn't thinking about that. So that's just comparing myself to myself. I think thinking about that has made me better, but I know that there's definitely better out there for sure. But I do appreciate that, though. It is very nice thing to say. I didn't even read you wrote another sentence that I didn't even read. Sorry. Yeah, look, I will say, man, it does get exhausting. I had a really tough week last week cleaning up code. Oh, it was terrible, but I got through it. It does get hard, but I really want to make this. I have to. I can't not. Like, I've come this far. I can't not do it. So that's what I keep telling myself, at least. Anyway, speaking of getting there, what was I doing? I was going to add a particle effect. Sorry, I got really off track. Then I'll go, because I think I've tired myself out. So now that I've got the variables back on track now that I've got the variables, I need to copy a function. That's right. I need to copy this. And the reason I copied the variables first is because if I tried to copy this function first, the variables would have all been missing. So if I go here and I'm going to delete this and then paste this. Okay, well, it still has some red things. That's unfortunate. Okay, I was hoping I'd be able to avoid that. Oh, no. So the reason these are all missing is because these are inputs. Okay, no, I get why that is. Well, it's good that we have those variables there anyway. So I just gotta, I think if I just right click these and go refresh, I hope, or will that work? I actually don't know. I hope it does, because it's missing something. Oh, there's no refresh. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to remake them. That's just, that's the one little, that's a little irritating, but oh well. I should probably hit compile. Oh, maybe it'll let me refresh them now. Okay, no, it still doesn't. Or will it? Oh, no, it doesn't. Because, so these are not variables. These are function inputs. They just look like variables because I actually didn't know this. But when you have inputs like this, because what I used to do, I used to drag these all over the blueprint to plug in, but it looks terrible. And I learned that you can actually just have them as little nodes like this, which is really cool. But it means that when you copy and paste something over like this, you have to like set them all up again, which is a bit annoying. But it will look way better than having the spaghetti stretch across the whole thing. So that's... it's worth it, I reckon. Because when this is all there, it's gonna look nice. And look, I would not call myself an actual programmer, but I will say, if you want to enjoy programming a bit more, because I tolerate programming. It's not my favorite, but I do it because I have to if I want to make my game. But if you want to enjoy it, you need to read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying, The Japanese Art of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, which has nothing to do with programming, but I think it has everything to do with programming because it teaches you how to be... It teaches you to, like... Well, that's the thing. It seems like it's a book about cleaning, but it really isn't. It kind of is a book about the mind. Because it just, it teaches you about like how to get rid of stuff. I think that's the main thing that the book is known for, is like how to discard things. Because a lot of people have a lot of junk they don't need, and they do not ever think to get rid of stuff. But when they do, they feel so good. Why is this? Hold on. Okay, there we go. But the principles of cleaning up your house or your closet, I think, are the same principles that apply to programming. Because there's like a meme from that people know. And they'll have like two pictures, and it's like this one sparks joy, this one does not spark joy. That's what that's from. And that's what you want to be thinking when you're programming, I think, is when you're looking at something you made, you want it to spark joy. You don't want to look at it and have an existential crisis, because that is just not good. Like, it's who willfully wants to have a existential crisis when they look at something they've coded from a month ago and they can't recognize it? I don't think anyone wants that. But it takes a bit of effort to avoid that. But I do think it's worth it, because then when I go back and look at these later, because I'm probably going to have to touch up something, like if I want to go and add object pooling, which I know I'll have to do eventually, then I can read this and I can actually make sense of it and go, oh. But to do that, there's a cost you have to pay, and that is spending time to like make it neat, which I do spend a lot of my time on stream doing, but it pays off. I think it definitely pays off, because sure, the work is still hard, so it won't solve all your problems, but I can tell you now, I would be a lot more stressed if it wasn't tidy. I would be a lot worse off. And if you're stressed out, you're not going to work very well, are you? So maybe it'll take the same amount of time to just clean it up, because then you save yourself mental bandwidth later. What is this emitter template? There we go. Oh, I'm gonna make that a validated get. Cool. All right. I think, is that everything? I think I've got everything copied over. I just oh, it's just these now. And I need to copy the event dispatcher. I should do that now. I wanted to do it at the end, but I should do it now. It'll make things easier. I really wish I could just copy, but it won't let me copy it. So I'll have to open this on my other screen and just manually punch it in. I have to think there's some way you can, I don't know, maybe there is a way to do it, but to research something is going to take time, so I might as well just do it manually. So I want an event dispatcher. Oh wait, did I move the right one? Oh, proximity. Oh no, yeah, so I want an event dispatcher here called onPlayEffects. And you might say, Ray, why do you need an event dispatcher for that? Well, look, Usually I do need one. Like in other instances where I've had this, it's been handy to have, so we might as well make it. It basically means that we can trigger events when the effects are played. So if we play a sound or an explosion, we can have something else listen for that if we want. And it's always, in my experience doing this, it's like usually a good idea to let yourself do that, because you might have a use for it. Is that the right kind of variable? No, that is not the right kind of variable. It needs to be a particle system. Be auto destroy. So I'm just got my other monitor looking at the list of variables, because I'm making this on here basically. Pulling method, and that has to be a EPS. Oh, why doesn't it let me type that in? All right, we'll come back to that one. Some variable types you can't type in for some reason, and I don't know why. Huh, yeah, I don't know what the deal with that is. Be auto act. I'll just copy. I don't know. Why am I typing this out? I can just copy it. That's a boolean. That's a sound. Oh. Sound base. Oh. Oh, come back. There we go. Oh. What's a tip I would give? I don't know. I am a little I'm not entirely satisfied with how I organize blueprints, but I can't really think of anything else to do, so I just kind of stick to my general. I have a lot of little micro rules that are going to take too long to explain. Like if I have something like this, I use the shortcuts to like align them all to this side, and then if that's going there, I align that to that side, and that should, if that's stretching over here, it should be in the middle, just because it looks nice. And there's a bunch of little rules. I have a bunch of little rules like that. Like each comment bubble should be like 3 grid spaces apart because it just looks nice. Yeah, there's a lot. I should probably write them down, but I remember them all in my head. But I don't know. Maybe there's like a better rule set. I don't know if someone's made like a thing for that. I hope so. That'd be cool if someone had written up something like that. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, use the align tool. I guess would be it. Use and that keyboard shortcut is Shift and then WASD when you have other things selected. It'll align things. That is your best friend. Anyway, back to this. So, where was I up to? Play 2D sound, a volume multiplier, because I'm going to be able to like change the volume of sounds and stuff. Pitch multiplier. So a lot of these I've just copied from the node, but I can input them. Do these have defaults? Oh, they do. Okay, I should probably like make sure that all the defaults are the right value. Yeah, so I'm just sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. If I expand these, each of these has defaults, I learned, and I know for a fact that volume needs to be 1 by default. Otherwise, you won't be able to hear a sound unless you input something. So that's something I gotta make sure I remember to do. And I'm almost done. I just got 2 more. Concurrency settings. Problem is I don't have a lot of effects in the project yet, so we'll have to just use a placeholder. But if we can just get a placeholder sound playing, then I'm happy. B is UI sound, which is a boolean. And I think all the default, yeah, those all look good. Okay, cool. Let's collapse all. Can I just go collapse all? Okay, cool. Oh, nice. Now I just need to replace all these with the right. I think I can just, should be able to just copy these over, I think. And return these so I can use these as for stuff. Oh yeah, I just don't know what kind of variable this is meant to be. I'll get to that. I might know a way to get around that. Okay, just to get the right variable type, because it's not showing in the thing. I think I might be able... Oh, I thought I could make an input for that or something. No, wait, maybe what I'm... Hold on. If I go to the... Can I like make... wait, is there a return? If I get a return node, and if I drag this into the return node, then I can I copy that to something so I can use it? Wait. Oh, I can't create inputs like that. Because the thing is, what I'm trying to do, this looks silly, but there's this variable which has a specific data type that I can't pick from the dropdown. And I've had this happen before, and there's a way you can like trick it into letting you use it, but you have to like create an event and plug it in as an input or something, and then it works. But I'm trying to remember how there's a way to do it. It's just lost on me at the moment. Wait, no, I think I might have it the wrong way around, maybe. One moment. Because it's this thing that, but if I type it in, it doesn't show up, which is really irritating. But I think I can add a... Oh no, I can't add a pin to that. Damn. I know that there's a way to do it. I've done this before. I just can't remember how. To get this specific data type, there's like a hack where you plug it into something and I can't remember it. It'll come to me. You can't just drag it and add it here, unfortunately, because it involves dragging it on top of an event so that it creates an input. I just don't remember how to do it. But I did this a week ago for something, and I can't remember it. It's oh, that's frustrating. I can't remember. Let me just think. It'll come to me. I know it'll come to me. No, I've done this. I've been through this. I know how to do it. It's like you drag it and you can like trick it into adding it as an input. But I don't. It's adding it to the output, which isn't exactly what I want. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I can use, let's try, man, can I use this output and go create? No, I don't think that'll work. No, it's something to do, because what you have to get it in a way where it is like a custom event. And then it has a signature. I don't know, it's a signature something. I don't know the full name. And then you can copy the signature to the event dispatcher. Yeah, a copy signature from, and then you can pick it. But the thing you pick from has to have it as an input, and you can make it in it. You can't add it an input here, but you can add it an input somewhere else, and then you can just copy it, and then it'll work. But I just can't remember how to do it. But I know I've done it before. It's just for some reason I just can't remember. God, that's annoying. It's just this one thing I need to plug in that isn't working. I can figure it out. I know how to do it. It's just locked. You know, like when you're like talking to someone and you're trying to remember like the name of some character, and then it just blocks from your head. That's literally me right now. No, I know it. It's like a weird roundabout hack, but it's the only way to get it to work because it doesn't show up in the drop down, and it's god damn. I know it. No, I didn't want the stream to end like this where I just forget the thing. No, because I know that I know this, and it's so frustrating. I was doing so good, I was on a roll, and then I just forgot. Because it needs to be... Wait a minute. Okay, so... can I use this? Maybe I can. I think if I create a custom event and if I drag... Yes! Oh, I remember. Yeah, so this is how you do it. All right, okay. Because watch this. Okay, this is going to look weird, but... yeah, so I think what you do... I just got to make sure this is ordered the right way. You just drag all of these into the... and this is so silly. I hate that I have to do it this way, but it gets the result. Okay, so just bear with me. So if you drag all these here... Oh, not like that. Yep. Oh, I almost had it. Yep. So if you drag them in, all the things you want, and if I go and check, I'm pretty sure if I drag the event dispatcher in... Oh, that's not the right one. It's this one. I'm just checking if they're all the same. I'm pretty sure they are. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so those are all the same. And then here's what you do. Because I want that data type, but it won't let me put it in the drop down. So you drag it in from the... Because you can make it an input or whatever for some reason, and that'll work. But then what you do for the event dispatcher is that you go to copy signature from, and then you do custom event 0, which is what I've just named this thing. Custom event 0, and then now there we go. It's got it now. Now it shows that type, the variable type I wanted, because that doesn't show up in here. I have no idea why. But now, oh, thank goodness, I remembered how to do it. And then you can just delete this event because you're not going to need it. And there you go. Wow, that was a close one. That would have been really embarrassing if I forgot that. And then you just drag this in. Wait a minute. Are those meant to be there? Let me just check one more thing. Yeah, okay, those are meant to be there. Okay, cool. So this event is done. Copied successfully. I really should make it like a function library of this stuff, but I've not gotten around to that, so... Cool, alright. So that should do what I want. All we have to do is now trigger it somewhere. And I need to organize these variables too, because these are all just sitting out in the open, and I want them in a... Because there's these things in Blueprints called categories, which I didn't learn about till last year, but they're really good. Because when you make a blueprint, you get all these variables in the default tab, and it's a bit of a mess. Like, look at this. This is just disgusting. But you can group these into into like little tabs like this. And to do that, you just have to like go into each of these and like change the... like here, you just change the category to, I think I called it effects, and then it moves it under this drop down. And then when you hit compile and then you go to the class defaults, if you go down here, now we've got 2 variables there, and we just need to get the rest of them in effects, which is, and then it's organized, and then it's cool. And yeah, organization's pretty nice. So I really wish the only downside is that you have to do it one at a time, because it doesn't let you click on multiple variables at once. So that's a bit annoying, but I think what we can, instead of typing it in, I think we can actually just drag and drop all of these. Yeah, there we go. So we just drag and drop them into the right category. Cool. And then it's going to look great, because then it's all grouped. These are all the properties involving the particle and sound stuff. Like, this isn't core stuff. This is just special effects polish. So I usually put that in its own thing called effects, because just to keep it away from the stuff that's important. So I just got to copy, and I should rename these, because it's called decollect, because this is copied from the collectible. So I should really rename these to like spawn and despawn. That would be a better name for these, so I'll make sure I do that as well. But I had a thought recently about all of this. All this I'm doing right now. Because if you think about it, this is kind of like a game in itself, in a sense. I think, is that everything? I think that's I'm going to move these to their own group later. I just want to do the effects. But this whole thing I'm doing right now, making a video game, is like a bunch. I had this thought, and the thought was that making a video game is like playing a lot of little micro games with yourself. Like you have to, it's all these mind games. And one of the mind games right now is naming variables. Like the objective is, can you name your variables and organize them properly? And you win when you do that. And I've noticed that that's actually how I think about a lot of things that I have to do, is that it's like a fun game of like, oh, can I make a thing that spawns an enemy in the right spot under these conditions? And now I've done that. Sorry, I just hit the mic. But I think the thing that makes indie dev exhausting is just that you have to play a very large amount of those games. And that can get a bit overwhelming. But maybe it's a bit less stressful if you think of them as like little fun games. I don't know, that's just something I was thinking about. What was I about to do? I gotta rename. Okay, so here's the game that we're gonna play next. It's naming these the right thing, because they shouldn't be called collect and decollect, because these were just copy and pasted from another thing. This should instead be called spawn emitter and despawn emitter. So the aim of our next 10-minute game, or however long it shouldn't take 10 minutes, it should take 5 minutes. The next objective of this 5-minute game is, we need to name all these the right thing, and we win when we finish that. So let's rename this to spawn emitter. So we're just replacing we're replacing every instance of the word collect with. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it zoomed in so you guys can see what I'm typing, but my mouse keeps like moving somewhere, so I don't know why that is. Spawn emitter. Spawn sound spawn sound. And if you want to be an extra cool gamer, we can you could maybe even give yourself a time challenge and try and speedrun. Damn it. Where does my mouse keep moving? You can try and speedrun how quickly. Oh no, I know why my mouse was moving, because I hit F2 or something and it's opened up the documentation on Chrome. That's why it's moving my screen. Oops. No, we don't want that. Yo, hey Tim. Sorry, I missed you last time. I know you were here for the last stream, and I was so focused that I just didn't notice anyone, but I noticed you now. Huh. Found him. All right, let's get through these. Let's speedrun any percent. Can I name my variables the right things? Spawn. Oh. And then here we go. Here's where we mix things up. This is despawn. Because, and you might be wondering now, well, Ray, why do you have so many variables for these? Why do you have 2 sets of variables for all this stuff? Because we want this to, these are going to be used, and we're going to pass these into that function I just copy pasted over that's going to play an effect and a sound. And the thing is that the functionality is the same no matter what thing it plays. The only difference is the specific properties or the specific particle effect it's going to spawn. So we're going to use the same function for both of them, but we're going to pass different variables through them, because it saves us having to write the function twice, you know? But it means you got to make all these variables. Despawn. Oh, I missed a letter there. There we go. Despawn. We're almost finished. Oh, I wrote something wrong. There we go. I think, it's just this one. Oh, just that one. Can I get it? Okay, cool. Objective complete. We have now named our variables correctly. One thing I do wish in game dev is that, you know how I was making that results screen? I don't know if I showed everyone the results screen. I'm going to show you the results screen, because this is exactly what I wish happened when you did things in real life. Like when you finished an objective, like when you finish, let's say you finish your laundry, and every time you do something like that, this screen comes up. Wouldn't that feel so cool? That would feel awesome. So I'm picturing that in my head right now. having named all my variables. Objective complete. That's what my brain's thinking. And now we just got to group. While we're here, we might as well. I need to group these into something a bit nicer too. So we'll call this group spawner. And we'll just drag the variables that we need that have to do with that in there. And I think that's it. I'm gonna move that above the effects group because it's, you know, the most important one. So now if I go to class defaults, this is the payoff. I guess this is the results screen. This is the dopamine hit moment. Now we've got this nice little, instead of it all being in default, you know, which is cringe, now we have it in nice categories like spawner, which has 2 properties. Just pick the thing we want to spawn in. So this means that we can spawn in anything we want. Like we can spawn Gabby in like this if we wanted to and have a bunch of Gabbies chasing you. And we could set a radius for when you despawn. And then here are all the special effects, like the emitters, the sounds. And I think all we have to do now is put that function in the event graph, plug in the inputs, and that should be it. So I just need this function called play effects. So we'll because I know I'm gonna need this twice. So we're gonna make it with all the things plugged in. So we're gonna drag all those variables we just renamed, and we're gonna plug them all in. And then we're gonna make another one of these with the despawn parameters plugged in, and then we're gonna copy and move those to where they need to fire. And then we'll have to put we'll have to give these values like an emitter value so that we can play a particle or a sound effect, and then it'll play effects when we spawn. That's what it'll end up happening. So let me just, hold on, I just want to see if I skipped one. Spawn emitter. Oh, sorry, but documentation was open again. I couldn't see chat. Yeah, whoa, it's a Ray stream. That's right. The wise word of Todd Howard. It just works. Well, I heard Todd Howard was on stage again recently. I don't know what it was. I just heard that there was some announcement they were doing. Did anyone watch that? Can someone fill me in? What was happening with Mr. Howard? Did he promise anything this time? Did he tell any sweet little lies? I just heard he was doing some Microsoft thing, but I didn't watch it. Let me just check if I've skipped any of these. Spawn emitter, auto destroy, pooling, auto spawn sound. Oh, I did skip one. This. That has to be there. Concurrency. Okay, now I'll copy these other variables. Starfield? Oh, cool. So they're talking about Starfield finally. I will say, I don't usually get excited for games. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just age. I don't know what. But I have not been excited for a video game in, like, maybe 8 years or something. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't really get hyped. But, well, no, I think there is one game I'm really excited for. That's my game. I think that's what it is. Since I started working on this game, I just have not cared about what's come out because I'm just obsessed with my game. So I'm only really excited for that game and nothing else. But Starfield does look kind of cool from the little I've seen of it. But that's the thing. That isn't that kind of tragic where the one game I'm a little bit excited about is a Bethesda game, which is like maybe the kind of game you shouldn't be excited about based on what happened last time people were excited for a Bethesda game. So that's kind of funny. I always find that amusing because I've looked at like the footage. They might have new footage now. Maybe Todd was announcing new footage the other day, but I remember I saw the first reveal or something like a year ago, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. But it isn't like I'm not excited enough to like want to buy it at launch. Mostly because it's probably too expensive, but also because I don't know. I feel like I don't play stuff that's new. I always like have my own weird thing about when I choose to play games, and it's usually not when they launch. It's usually like 5 years afterwards when I feel ready to. I don't know why. It's just something I do. Like the new Ratchet and Clank. If one of my friends is watching the stream now, he's probably kicking himself laughing right now because he's been nagging me to play the new Ratchet and Clank for a year, and I just haven't because I don't know. I just don't like. I don't know. I like whenever I think about games coming out, I think about my game and I go, well, my game should come out like these games, and then I just go work. So I just don't. I don't know. I guess that's kind of weird. I don't know. Like, it's strange. I can't really explain it that well, but I just end up going, oh, I would love if people felt that way about my game, and then it just makes me go and work on stuff. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's a good thing. But it also means I have not played anything new in like the past 5 years or so. Maybe one new game. I'm trying to think. I honestly can't remember what they would have been. I know I've played something in the last 5 years, like a handful of games. I just do not remember what they are. Okay. Anyway, so, thanks, David. I hope I'm going well too. What was I about? Okay, so now that we've got this set up, check this out. These are the events, and that someone asked you earlier about how do I organize things. So you know how I had them all spread out? I just hit these and press Q, and then it straightens them all to be like this. That's another little thing I do because it just looks nice. Anyway, so now that these are all set up, I just need to find out where they should be plugged in. And that should be easy, because I think this one should be here in the spawn actor function. Because that seems like a sensible place to put it. So we'll put it there. So I need to make... I also love these, by the way, these sequence nodes, because it lets you put things in like a stack, which is really handy. It's because then I don't have to append this to the end of something else, which is nice. So I just need to put that there. And then I need to just line these up. And then I should probably move... Because what I liked, a little thing I do as well is that you see how this cable is like bending backwards? I like to avoid having cables bend backwards like this because I don't know, it just looks weird. So I move it all so that the cables are like nice and they aren't bending in weird ways. Like they're bending forwards, not backwards. You know, I don't want any like scoliosis happening with my blueprint cables. So yeah, so there we go. That looks a bit better. It looks centered. That's why. It's because it's aligned. It looks centered. Now we just need to make, when we despawn, we just got to copy this to the despawn function, which doesn't have a sequence because there's not a lot that happens here. But we just got to put that in there, and there we go. And then we just got to actually fill in these variables and stuff. But now they should play when they're meant to, which is the hard bit done. So here's the fun bit. Let's save it. Saving is really fun though. So we saved it. Now we've done the fun bit. Let's also close. We don't need all these open, so I'm going to close some of these. Why do I have this open? Okay, well let's close those. I just want to like do that because when I get off, I then stress out about what I changed and what I saved, and I like to just. Oh. Okay, I'll do that after. I'll do that after the stream. I'll clean up some of that. But I can. Oh no, I think I left these open for a reason. I'll leave those alone. I know there was a reason I left all those tabs open. So let's save the metric component because I think we made a change to that, and we definitely made a change to the mission component. So I'm just going to save that. Now let's do the fun bit. So now we have all these variables. Collect emitter. Oh. Wait, I didn't rename that. Okay, I missed one variable. That shouldn't be called that. It should be called spawn emitter. That's it. I missed one variable. Okay, I didn't do that perfectly. I missed one variable. Now it's all named the right thing. So now if I go back and compile, I should... Yeah, so let's pick... I don't know what particle... I haven't really done any particle stuff yet, but there's this thing called black hole, so we'll try that. we'll get a sound. What sound? I think I've got the vine boom. We'll do that. And let me just, I need to check one thing, because I copied all these things in the event dispatcher, and I just need to make sure that the volume yeah, okay, that has to be 1 by default. And if I go to the function, wherever that is, play effects, I need to check the default. Do these have default value? Yeah, they do. Okay, that has a, okay, cool. Oh yeah, I need to change the pitch default as well for the dispatcher, because if the pitch is at 0, then it will not be able to, you won't be able to hear it. So we want pitch multiplier at 1. All right, okay, so I've got a particle effect plugged in. Oh wait, no, there's one, I just realized there's one problem. We have these emitters and stuff plugged in, but where are they gonna play? Well, oh wait, no, I think yeah, no, they'll play at the spawn location. Okay, cool. So we don't need to worry. I didn't know if I thought of that or not, but I had. So that's great. So let me get my desktop audio, and you can listen to this with me. So what should happen now? I know I've just rambled a bunch about code, but this is the cool bit where I really hope if this doesn't work, that's just going to be it's going to be anticlimactic, won't it? But if I load the mission up, and if I don't know if you guys, can you guys, let me turn up the volume. I'll turn up this volume. If you listen closely, you should be able to hear something when I go near the trigger volume. Oh my god, that actually gave me a bit of a spook. Oh my god. No, wait. Let's go around from the other side. What? Okay, so we can see it a bit better. All right, watch this. Watch this. Oh, it's perfect. That actually perfect. That's the best sound. Except the particles don't spawn, but the sound effect plays. But the hell yeah, that is so funny. I want to do it again. Oh, cool. All right. Now, this is a funny story, but I actually have a license for the Vine Boom, so I could actually put that in the final game without copyright infringement. So that's, don't ask why I have the license, but you just need to know that I have a license for that sound. Okay, that's all you got to know. Do not ask why I have a license for it. It's actually not called Vine Boom. It has another name, but it's everyone knows it as the Vine Boom. So the particle emitter. Let's try a different particle. Maybe I'm using the wrong one. I haven't used that one before. Let's just use explosion, because I know that one works. So let's try it. When I go near it. Oh, wrong mission. Okay, it's not spawning the emitter, but it's playing the sound, which is that's pretty funny. But why isn't it not spawning the emitter? That's a bit odd. Also, I remember moving this around, but I don't for the life of me. Oh yeah, I can get rid of that. I don't need that. Why is it not spawning the particle system? Why is it not spawning the particle system? Maybe it's the... Oh no, yeah, no. It's because this. I need to get rid of this. I think. Wait, what on earth is that? I think because this is not a component, this is a blueprint, so I think this will not work. So now let's try it. I can't have get owner because actors don't have owners. Actors are owners. All right, I did see an explosion, but it wasn't in the right spot. It spawns on the floor for some reason. So that's not good. Oh no, it is spawning at the spawn location, but we actually do have a spawn point, which it should be spawning at. That's what we need to plug in. But I need to get the transform. There we go. So I just need to replace that with the spawn location, which is its own thing, and then it will work. Okay, well that's simple. That's easy. I was worried it was something serious. So I need to copy that, and I need to copy that, and then we're good. So now we'll have an explosion and the vine boom when the enemy spawns, which is just perfect, right? What more can you ask for when spawning in it? Like, you might, you know, performance things aside, because I'm also doing this for performance so that the game is not rendering as many enemies. But also, isn't it just like way cooler if the enemies like have that kind of entrance? Like, is that not just cool? Like watch this. All right, because I know it's a bit hard to see because of all the things in the way. But if I go from this side, like, that is a way cooler entrance than them just being there, in my opinion. All right, let's try it again with the black hole, because this is from some asset pack that I got. And I don't know what it does, but let's just try it. Whoa! Okay, well that doesn't vanish, so that's it's gonna spawn more of them every time and it seems to last forever, so maybe we don't want to use that one. We'll use the explosion right now as a placeholder. I'll make something proper later on. That is funny though. Let's test the despawn as well. And now that I think of it, no, we're gonna have to do something about that position I just did, because we actually need to get not the spawn, but we need to get the actor, because that because then if we despawn, we want the particle to play where the enemy is, and it won't be near the spawn point. So why is it hold on. Get actor. Oh, we want get actor. That's why it's acting all weird. Okay. So I want to use this instead. So I might as well test it, the despawn particle, while we're here, and then that'll be it. So if we'll use the explosion, because that's just it works. It always spawns and it does what it's meant to. So for the despawn sound, we'll do the cymbal clash just as a test, and then we'll do despawn emitter explosion. Cool. All right, let's give that a shot. So when we get away from it, it should like combust. So it spawns and it plays the noise and it's the particle, and then if we get away from it, it should also then play a particle, because it does look a bit weird if he just vanishes. So he should have like a particle effect. Okay, so it played a noise, but I didn't think I saw the particle. Let me try that one more time. Maybe I was too... Yeah, I don't think I saw the particle. I just gotta look real close. Yeah, I don't think the particle's spawning. That's a big no. That's a big no. Oh, and it's getting this problem again. Oh no, that's why. So it's not playing it because that's a tough one actually. I think, no, I know how to solve it, because it can't get the actor transform, because the actor's been destroyed before we played the effects. So we need to play the effects first. That's what it means. So it means that we need to reorder this. We need to reorder this so that the effects play first. Yeah, I don't know why it's playing the sound. That's a bit strange. Sound shouldn't work then, but it does. I don't know. Well, let's see what happens now. So if I get far enough away, I should... Okay, it works. So it explodes and then just vanishes. It plays that cymbal clash sound. Okay, cool. Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. Oh, that's hot. That's hot. All right, well, I think that's it. I think the component works, and it is tidy, and I can read it, and it makes sense. Yeah. I just want to do it one more time. Just one more time before I go. It's just funny. So let's take it from the other side so I can see it. So this is how this is going to work in Project Feline, right? So you be in the level, you be every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet, and then this guy comes out and starts chasing you. Isn't that, like, that's just cool. I love that. And when you get away from him, he will give up. And then he'll go back, he'll come back. Come back to the spawn point. And then, just to test, if I reset the mission, okay, he'll come back. Cool. Epic. All right. We're done. We're finished. We're done. Whew. Except, wait, no, we're not done yet. There's one problem. Why is this still, okay, we'll do one of these. We'll make sure that that's like plugged in, right? That's it. Just so that we don't get the error, because that's nice to not have errors. Now let's try it. See if we get any errors. We shouldn't. Okay, let's try getting away from him. Okay, no errors. All right, now we're done. Now we're done. Can a sound be local? Yes, it can. I thought it, well, let's have a look, shall we? There should be a little tick box so all the copy pasting variables I did should let us do that. It looks like it is not a 2D sound. So maybe it's just really loud. I don't know. Let me actually like listen, because I actually have, maybe it's just really loud. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, no, it isn't a 3D sound. Or, no, because there's some sounds that will play out of different speakers depending on which way you're facing, and I always find those a bit annoying. So I don't think it does that by default. But then there's sounds that, I think they are 3D sounds, it's just we're close to them. Like, we're not far enough away to stop hearing them. I think that's what it is. I mean, I'm looking at this and... Oh, no, I have these... No, you are right. I had these plugged in the wrong order. Okay, if we do this now... Wow. I can't believe I never noticed that. So now it should have some fade off, because I'm thinking there's no way you'd still be able to hear it. So if we get away... Oh, it's still very loud, isn't it? Huh. Well, at least like this was definitely not meant to be in that order anyway. So when 2D sound is true, it then plays 2D sound. And if not, it plays sound at location, which is how it's meant to be. So that's good that I looked at that, because I would have gone my rest of my life not knowing that. But I don't know why it still sounds like it. Maybe now it's like actually working, but we're still just really far. We're not far enough away to hear if the 3D-ness kick in. Okay, no, that is a bit loud though. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. That is a good... I just want to check one thing. So when I've got the spawn and am I plugging in the right thing? Sound is UI, sound is false, and his 2D sound is false. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we are just too close. Just to be safe. Okay, we'll try one more thing, because this is bothering me a little now. We will make it so that it only does play sound at location. We'll skip the sound 2D stuff. Okay, well it's... maybe it's the concurrency. if I unplug these and just leave them as their defaults, I don't know, maybe we'll hear something different. Okay, I don't know. I can't really tell, but I'll have to like test it, but have it like really far, and then maybe, I don't know. I'm sure I'll work out something, but that'll have to do it for me today. But that, I mean, apart from just, I think it is working. I think we're just too close. I think that's what it is. But if not, I'll find a way to fix it. But yeah, that's feature complete, which is cool. And I didn't think the vine boon would be so fitting, but it is. I kind of want to keep it in there, but that's the problem, is that everyone's gonna... the game's gonna seem like a meme game if I will leave that in. So it's, you know, inside you there are two wolves. The one that wants to put the vine boom sound in, and the one that wants to pick a real sound. Thanks, Tim. Where are the tendies at? Oh, look, I didn't bring any tendies with me. I'm sorry. But yeah, it was a good session. But I'll look into that proximity sound. I'll look at what's going on. Anyway, that's going to do it. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I know my schedule for streaming there has been no schedule, and I'm sorry, but I've just been busy. But well, now that this is done, I need to do a bit of I got to make some mission content with these levels that's been in the works. The YouTube members can look at the channel page and see what those are. I want to try and make a bit of content for those, and then I'll start thinking about what the next video is going to be on. But that could still be a bit, so don't get your hopes up yet, because there's a lot I have to sort through. Because there's a lot of videos I want to make. I gotta focus the topic down and boil it until it's refined. But that's up on the priority list very soon. But thanks everyone for being so patient with those two, because game dev is like a big job. I can't always be doing everything all the time at perfect efficiency, but I appreciate how patient you guys have all been, especially in the 4-month gap since the last video. But if you want, because what I've been doing, because I do have my Patreon, which get these mugs, by the way, if you want to check that out. But on my Patreon, I have a Discord server, and I've been making a habit of like putting like typing in there what I'm doing every day. So if you want to know exactly what I'm doing like every day, I try to keep like, there's like a chat in there that I just post screenshots to of like, this is the hell I'm doing now, that kind of stuff. So if you want to stay on the pulse, consider becoming a YouTube member or a Patreon. So the members that join this stream, you can, there should be, if you have your Discord account and your YouTube account with the same email, and if the accounts are linked, you'll be able to find the door to that server. But thanks so much for supporting me. Thanks for watching. I will see you when I see you, which I'm not sure when that will be, but hit subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll know when that'll be if you hit the bell. So thanks so much for joining.